If you want to make some fantasy picks on your favorite sports, check out Underdog Fantasy. It's all the rage, where you can choose higher or lower between 2 to 8 players, and you can win up to 325 times your entry. Use the code K100 at the Underdog Fantasy website, on the app, or at our personalized link, and you can receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash as well as a free pick. Underdog Fantasy offers a unique approach to fantasy sports, and it's a simple pick 'em style format. You can select players you believe will outperform expectations without the complexities of traditional daily fantasy sports. The user-friendly interface and growing community make it easy and fun to play, plus it's available in over 30 U.S. states. We will share our picks for you every week on K100 Sports. You can follow along or play against us. So use the code K100 at UnderdogFantasy.com on the app or at the link included in the show notes and receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus a free pick. UnderdogFantasy.com. It's an underdog thing. Oh, by the way, Joe, pull this up. Konnan, you can see us, right? We just can't see you, correct?
I can't see you.
Okay, okay, right. So, Joe, I want you to pull this up. Go back. We got this late after we recorded, but pull up the Dynamite quarter hours.
Yeah.
Pull that up. Okay, Konnan. Now, everybody was saying that this was like a really good show.
Right.
Okay, then it's kind of interesting that this is. I want to show you the viewership trends of what like the AEW fans and Meltzer and Shamrasep of what they thought was a good show.
Right.
Okay. So, Joe, can you pull that up?
Yeah. Quarter hours are up.
Okay. Does that look like the viewers that are watching this think that's a good show? Because it ended at 40. Every single quarter hour, with the exception of the 9:15 to 9:30, dropped.
Right.
Like the only thing that drew was, what is this? It looks like MJF's promo is the only thing that could, like 60,000 people jump back on board for him to listen to MJF talk.
Right.
Everything else is just like a ski slope.
So what?
I just want to reiterate that you can reiterate this too. That's not the viewership trends of a show that you're watching that you would recommend that people thought that was a good show because they're turning it off in droves.
All right. So it started off at what?
7. Well, the lead. Let's say around 7. Around 700 because
that's always their best number because it's a superficial number because of the Big Bang. I can't believe that Big Bang has been off the air how long?
Oh, for forever.
Right. And they get, huge numbers still, right?
Yeah.
So they get that superficial number, and then the trend is always the same. Now, let me just say this in fairness. I said this last week. I thought it was a better show than usual. Okay, it was better paced. But here's a problem, bro. When you're cold, it takes a long time for people to figure out if you're good or not. It doesn't happen from one week to another. Like if you have 8 bad shows in a row and one of them's good, that's not enough, right? So you got to make wholesale changes. The product is cold. They have no buzz. And I've said this a million times. The main event has to be main event names. I'm sorry. They're making Swerve Strickland into a main eventer. He really isn't yet. To draw fans, and here's proof. And Ricochet is seen as a guy that was a mid-carder, a low mid-carder at that in WWE. So, and I still cannot believe after 5 years, this guy hasn't learned that. You know what I'm saying? But that's on him, not on.
Because here's the thing, all right? You look at like you said, like perfect example. Okay, you had Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, and the Hurt Business.
Right.
Okay, all on in the first hour of the show.
Right.
They were all prominent, right? This is who they interacted with. Will Ospreay wrestled Mark Davis. Okay, the Hurt, the Hurt.
Right, and they made a big. And here's the worst part: they made a big deal out of him, like he was a big deal, which he probably is to those hardcore fans. Nobody knows who he is. They don't know who's the other half of Ozzy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Like you're putting your stars in there in prominent angles with, like people are waiting for them to have the stars face off against each other. That's what people want to be compelled with.
And let me just say another thing from a booking standpoint. When you're going to bring in build them up and you're going to bring in a mystery guy, then it should have been somebody that had name value. Like, for example, and I'm just going to throw a name out there. I know they're working with WWE, Joe Henry, right? Just for an example. You don't want the masses that when Mark Davis came out, they're going, who?
Right. That's a New Japan guy, whatever.
Right.
So then you had then you have the Hurt Syndicate out there. Who are they interacting with? The Gun Club, the Billy Gunn's kids.
Right.
Like they haven't been on TV forever. They're not, so then you got Mercedes. Then you got.
I will say this.
Yeah.
I will say this about that feud. If they do it right, the Gun Club can grow from it. Plus, the matches will be good because they saw like And the promos will be good because they're funny. The Gun Club is.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you had the Hounds of Hell, like, Brody, what's his name, against Takeshi and Kyle Fletcher.
Right.
And like the Hounds of Hell aren't like, they're trying to become baby faces, but I don't know. It's just like, bro, everybody's turning the channel off, the TV off. And to me, it's like if you would have had these names, all the names that you listed on the show, okay? If you would have had some of these names interacting with each other, I guarantee you the segments would have been higher. You just have bro. I read that Tony Khan really is fun, like considers himself like he loves matchmaking.
Right. And he considered himself like a guru. But your numbers are not proving that, right?
Right, exactly.
And you got by on the honeymoon period where everybody loved Tony because the product was fresh and it was new, and they gave him Booker of the Year, which he did not deserve. And now I doubt he will ever win it again.
Right.
And he does take that seriously.
Not with these numbers. Not if it gets.
Not just the numbers, bro. Yeah. Hunter's eating him up alive, and Hunter has Michael Hayes, Paul Heyman. He's got some of the smartest guys in the history. Bruce Pritchard,
Shane Helms.
Guys.
Ricochet and Swerves has been built up. Like they've been investing a lot in this angle with storytelling. Bro, it went down to only 501. It started at.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. It's like I've said, This is one of the problems I wanted to bring it up, is because Tony, after Sean Ross Sapp was tweeting, wow, Dynamite's great. What a great Dynamite this is. Tony, after the show, was tweeting out, like, I thought this was a great show tonight. And then, like, look, guys, that's your problem. It's like, you need to identify, what's good and what's bad. The show you just thought that was really good, you had there's some mistakes on it because people were turning it off in droves. So that's another thing that needs to be addressed. Stop listening to your hardcore sycophant fans that are just going to try to praise you so you can keep inviting them back to the scrums.
Right.
That's not like a relevant voice in this, especially if they're telling you your worst stuff is really good. So I don't know. All right. So let's get to the mail. Go ahead.
Now, I will say this. Collision had been a lot better. Mm-hmm. And I heard that FTR has been booking some of that stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I read that. Pull that up. That Jimmy J. Well, we'll start with the mail, but pull that Jimmy Jacobs stuff, that thing that he was talking about, because this is interesting.
Right.
Because it was what he said was interesting, but there's still no clarity for what I wanted from him. So if you can get that, Joe.
Yeah, I got
pull it up, because there's some stuff he says, like
the Jimmy Jacobs on working with Tony Khan, right?
Yes, because he's kind of trying to. It's like he's kind of like telling everybody what he's doing. But I'm still, bro, I've been in the business. I'm still unclear to what he's doing, because I want to know who it sounds like he's the guy writing the show. That's what it sounds like. But he kind of says, I'm not writing the show.
I will say this. And I got this from a very good source, that he wasn't writing the show. He was giving ideas, but that he needed a break, and they gave him time off.
Okay. So he was okay. So he's not. So who is writing the show? The show writers are very important.
Dynamite is Tony. That's his baby.
So he's writing the show. Like
and I'm sure
what you do,
guys like Jericho and Moxley say this is what we want to do, and he says all right, or he tweaks it. Yeah.
Right, but I'm just saying, who goes in the lab and writes out the format that
the format, I don't think he does that. Maybe QT.
Well, that's what I mean by the writing.
That.
Right. That's what I mean by the writing of the show.
Yeah,
the guy that writes the thing that we hand out to
formatting and writing are two different things. So
right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he's formatting the show, but I want to know who's
writing. No, he's
not
formatting the show. QT, I believe, is he writes the show.
If anything, if you look at clips we've seen in the past where Tony has his big notebook with the squares squared off and all this, it's a match, promo, angle, match. So he's doing that part of it, but he's not, formatting it.
We'll read the Jimmy. What does Jimmy Jacobs say?
Okay, so he says, Tony Khan had a lot to juggle from the beginning. It's not just about putting on good wrestling. It's about building a brand, keeping fans happy, and keeping a roster of talent motivated. Tony always knew there was going to be criticism, whether it's about creative decisions, the talent roster, or how AEW is performing compared to WWE. It's all part of being in the spotlight. Tony didn't take it personally, but he definitely had to find ways to manage that pressure, and it's about communication. Tony has always been really transparent.
Let me tell you this 100% from conversations I've had with him, and even arguments which turned into temper tantrums. He is 100% sells everything WWE does behind the scenes, and we've seen him do it on Twitter too. But continue.
So he says, Tony has always been really transparent with the talent. AEW is a place where wrestlers have more control over their characters and how they're portrayed on TV, but that also means they expect more. Tony had to manage the balance between giving talent the creative freedom they wanted and making sure the overall product worked. AEW has never been static. There's always something new, and that's something Tony has been really good at, constantly evolving the product to keep the fans engaged. It's tough because you're competing against the biggest wrestling company in the world, but Tony really has carved out a niche for AEW.
Well, no, but I want to read what he says he does. That part where he's talking about what he does there.
All right, there's like 6.
Yeah, just search and find that lane where he's talking. We'll start the mailbag. Okay. The first goes. Oh, by the way, real quick, Joe. Sidebar. What were the suspensions?
Okay, yeah. Well, here's Jimmy. I'm sorry.
Cool.
I would challenge anybody to name one segment I wrote and produced at AEW. Mostly, what I did at AEW was admin stuff. I was a channel for information. This is what you're looking for, right there.
Yeah.
Okay, there were people that had this narrative that I was a leak in WWE, which I absolutely 100% was not. It was a complete fabrication. I still honestly am getting used to being judged by lies. And then, okay, it's the same thing from before, the same quotes.
But see, that's one of the biggest mistakes you have. You have a guy that's a great writer, great mind, okay, because we worked with him in TNA, and you have him doing administration. He's a secretary.
Right.
I mean, bro, get off your high horse and learn from others that have been in the game longer than you and have had success. Like, from what I understand, you made the list, and the scarf thing was Jimmy Jacobs' idea.
Right.
Yeah, he worked a lot on the Kevin Owens, Jericho friendship stuff as well, the Festival of Friendship and their team and all that. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, this, like, whoever's writing the show is still writing.
The owner, you somehow think you know more than everybody else, a la Jimmy Jones in Dallas.
Right. Jerry Jones. By the way, Joe, I anticipated you would be trolling us wearing a Philadelphia Eagles hat today. How come you're not wearing a Philadelphia Eagles hat? And are you going to the parade, by the way?
Yeah, I'm likely going to the parade. Yeah, my dad.
Are you really? When is it? Tomorrow?
Friday.
What time?
Oh, dude, you get down there at 6 a.m. You got to stay.
Okay, well, I think we should record
on Friday.
Yes, Joe, Cody, can you record on Friday so Joe can miss the parade? Yeah,
Joe does the trust fall. I don't want him to die, but I would like him to get like a split skull.
Yeah, like
and have staples put in his head.
Right. Yeah. First one
my dad hasn't, just real quick yet. My dad hasn't been, like, I've caught a Phillies one now and an Eagles one. My dad hasn't been to any parades because he's a Flyers fan. No offense to my dad there, but he's like, I really want to go. I was like, all right.
Take your dad and go to Pat's afterwards. Pat's cheesesteaks.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.